More people than ever are afraid they're going to lose their job at some point this year, and that's only for the people who are lucky enough to already have a job. New entrants into the job market are struggling to get into roles that were desperate for workers just 3 years ago. If people do lose their jobs, they have record low savings to support themselves. So then why the fuck are people spending more than ever?
For males, it's the top priority. For females, it's number 2 behind only clothing and accessories.
Americans seem more stressed about money than ever before.
87% of Americans said that inflation and the rising cost.
4 in 10 Americans say that money affects them negatively and the state of their mental health.
The financial situation of the average American has gotten worse in the past 12 months. According to data from Equifax and the New York Fed, money that people saved during the pandemic is gone, and in its place, people are using credit cards and short-term loans to cover expenses. Buying or renting a house is more unaffordable than ever due to the trio of low availability, high mortgage rates, and high prices, and with an election on the horizon, people are worried that things will only get worse when appeasing voters is no longer top priority.
That a lot of Americans simply stop looking for a job. Still, when it comes to unemployment, lower is better than higher.
But when everything is a crisis, nothing is. People have seen the headlines, and they just don't care anymore. Crisis fatigue is a real problem, and it's costing you thousands of dollars every year, whether you realize it or not, for 3 different reasons. The first reason is that people who aren't catching up are giving up. If you think it's going to be hard to ever be financially comfortable, you are not alone. A survey of 2,000 young Americans conducted by Harris Poll for USA Today found that 65% of Gen Zers and 74% of millennials believe that they are starting further behind financially than earlier generations. And according to a poll run by the New York Post, 1 in 5 Americans now believe they will never be able to afford a home. There are 2 reasons for this pessimism. The first reason is simply because it's true. Big financial objectives like home ownership, retirement, or simply being debt-free are becoming rarer. More Americans over the age of 75 are working than ever, according to data from the Labor Department. These were the people that had the opportunity to buy homes before they were several multiples of the average income. So if they couldn't escape the rat race, what hope do you have? The second reason is that there is a lot of money to be made off this pessimism. When people resign themselves to never achieving their financial goals, then there is less pressure to avoid taking on bad debt, spending recklessly, or putting off enjoyment. According to the same New York Post survey, 40% of young Americans surveyed said they think that hitting the jackpot was the best chance they had of ever being able to afford a home. Lottery companies, online casinos, and get-rich-quick gurus have tapped into this desperation as an effective marketing strategy to put those that fall behind even further behind. Giving up and being financially irresponsible has in a way become something that is highly fashionable. Trends follow young people, and since young people are giving up on long-term financial goals in favor of short-term experiences, that has become the new normal. Luxury fashion is marketed as a way for affluent people to show off their means, but according to a survey by Bain Consulting, the largest group of customers shopping at luxury clothing stores are millennials followed by Gen Zers. The people who have the least financial security are spending the most to try and fake the appearance of doing well that they will never be able to really achieve. Young people with basic jobs and no assets wearing LV and Supreme are cosplaying as people with financial security when all they are really doing is hurting their financial situation even more. Even if you are personally maintaining a high level of financial discipline, crisis fatigue can still end up costing you money if you are trying to keep up with friends and colleagues who want to indulge in expensive activities. The terrible reality is that your life probably won't be as comfortable as the lives of older generations, and if that makes you want to stop playing a rigged game, that's fair. But it's only going to make your financial situation worse. So it's time to learn how money works to find out how financial crisis fatigue is costing you what's left of your financial future. This week's lesson is sponsored by Sheath Underwear, by far the most comfortable underwear you will ever wear. If you're sick of boxers that are too loose or briefs that are too tight, Sheath is for you. Their stretchy fabric is made out of a moisture-wicking technology. They're super soft and keep everything cool and comfortable. I've been doing a lot of working out in the new year, and if you made that your goal too, you should get yourself Sheath Underwear. Their men's briefs are designed with a dual pouch to keep everything separate, perfect for running and all-around men's fitness. There's so many options to choose from, with a variety of new vibrant prints and bamboo fabric in a limited selection, including women's bamboo underwear. And they feel incredible. I can't recommend Sheath enough. They're the official underwear sponsor of the UFC, trusted by many fighters and dorky money YouTubers alike. Go to sheathunderwear.com/HMW and get the most comfortable underwear you'll ever wear. If you use the promo code HMW, you'll also get 20% off your order. That's sheathunderwear.com, promo code HMW for 20% off your order. Luxury retailers and get-rich-quick gurus have done well off people YOLOing away their life savings, but there is another group that benefits more directly from financial crisis fatigue, and that's the people selling the crisis. There are good news outlets and bad news outlets, and there are good financial influencers and bad financial influencers, but they will all be able to tell you the same thing. Fear sells better than positivity. Most of my best videos in 2023 were commentary on bad corporate practices, and there is a reason why larger influencers predict a new housing crash every week. It gets views. When these predictions are nothing more than baseless speculation, it causes the second problem with financial crisis fatigue. It stops people from getting started. More people than ever get their financial advice from financial influencers on YouTube or TikTok. According to a survey by Wall Street Zen, 76% of Gen Z admit to turning to platforms like TikTok, YouTube, and Reddit for financial education, in contrast to only 24% who seek advice from financial advisors. Even if you struggle to feel bad for someone who watched a TikTok crypto analyst before putting their life savings into dink-doink futures, they can't take all of the blame. Basic financial literacy in America is terrible, and it costs too much for most people to seek the advice of a licensed and qualified financial advisor. Entertainment platforms like YouTube and TikTok do not promote the content giving the best advice. They promote the content that is getting the most engagement. So boring, rational investing gets pushed aside by people making insane claims about the next crypto to the moon or the housing market flipping. I know I talk about this a lot on my channel, but bad advice is worse than no advice. Statistically, the worst mistake that young people make when pursuing savings and investing goals is not starting early enough, followed by putting too much money into individual assets that underperform. The two most common types of content made by finfluencers is talking about the next crisis and talking about individual stocks. A JP Morgan Chase survey found that younger people who got their financial advice from non-traditional sources were more aggressive in their portfolios as they would buy and sell individual positions more frequently than older wealthy investors employing the help of a paid financial advisor. 90% of hedge funds that employ an active trading strategy underperform the market, so people making trades based on a video they watch are almost certainly doing themselves harm when they could just be investing consistently. Looking at the headlines and videos about other markets like housing can also give people the impression that it's always a bad time to make a purchase that should be a long-term decision. If you watched Graham Stephan's video about the real estate market crashing back in 2019 and decided to hold off investing because of it, then you are going to be spending hundreds of thousands of dollars more today for the same house that you would have bought back then. News outlets and content creators can comment on these important markets, but they shouldn't try and speculate on them because that's where serious harm can happen to people that for better or worse rely on these outlets for financial advice. Constant bad news stories can also have the opposite effect, and instead of stopping people from making sensible purchases, it pushes people towards making financial decisions that look less risky but are actually only preying on their financial insecurities. If you have spent any amount of time watching business and finance content on YouTube, you have seen ads telling you to buy gold as an asset to preserve your wealth, protect you from inflation, the government, a recession, or whatever the financial crisis flavor of the week is. Scott Schaefer released a series of videos recently diving into the shady practices of precious metal companies that use endorsements from people like Rudy Giuliani, Ben Shapiro, and Robert Kiyosaki to sell gold coins at prices 45% above market rates.
This is the best investment in the world today. It's called silver.
Rich Dad Fraud Dad needs his own video, but precious metals are a risky asset to have too much wealth concentrated in, and that's if you can buy them at a fair market price. Emotions and investing don't mix well, and that's the third reason why financial crisis fatigue will be costing you money. It makes real problems sound less important. There are a lot of new ways that people are claiming that you can get rich quick. Most of these strategies or investments are incredibly risky at best, or downright scams at worst. Bad financial news has become so widespread that if people try to expose these schemes, their work becomes hard to pick out from every other story fighting for viewer attention. Fear, uncertainty, and doubt, or FUD, has become a slogan for crypto bros downplaying the risks of their investments. If real estate is crashing, the stock market is crashing, bonds are crashing, and crypto is crashing, then it makes it seem like all of these asset classes are just as risky as one another. CoffeeZilla, in addition to traditional media outlets, published damning reports over the business practices of the failed crypto exchange FTX over a year before it eventually collapsed. But investors still lost billions of dollars because their warnings got lost in an ocean of warnings about absolutely everything. The world's largest crypto exchange, Binance, used this strategy when their business fundamentals were called into question after the collapse of FTX. The company's official statements implied that the media was just looking for the next big news story, all while secretly working out a $4.3 billion settlement deal with the Justice Department over money laundering violations. And it keeps on working. Because in the age of TikTok attention spans, even the most reputable outlets need to turn up the sensationalism to stay relevant. But to find out how it got this far, go and watch my other video over on how history works on the 2,000-year decline of journalism. I have also finished writing an accompanying article about the power of FUD in financial markets that I will be releasing on my free email newsletter later this week, so if you want to read that and other articles written by some of the best finance creators on the platform, sign up to Compounded Daily linked in the description to keep on learning how money works.